Hello everyone, welcome to Steve's Story Corner. Today we're going to have an adventure through Theros in these 3 booster packs. We'll start with this one. So, once upon a time, there was a satyr. A very good satyr that tried to do the best he could every single day by dredging through the forest for, snacks and foods for his family. But one day, this satyr found that he was blessed with a mantle that he found in the forest. It was able to repel anything that was able to get onto him. So he thought to himself, I must be invincible. I will become the hero of the games that are set in Icroa. I will become the champion. I will fight the Leonin. I will fight the merfolk. I will also fight to make sure that I can gain eternal life. So the satyr decided to go to the games. And when he got there, he was trained by the citizen to make sure that he knew everything that he could. He found himself his own unicorn that he could ride into battle with. And he found himself with a pious wayfarer who blessed him and gave him all that he could to make sure that he knew that he could win in the games. So his first round starts. He casts the blessing that the wayfarer had started on him, covered himself in thorns. He was not going to be defeated. And there a trickster came and zapped him in the back. Luckily, he was wearing his mantle, and it didn't affect him. He turned around with his spear and threw it into the trickster, devoured his memories by stabbing him in the back of the brain. He fell dead. He knew it was destiny that this had happened. He was going to be the greatest victor of the Aroan Games possible. He had been chosen, but not in the way that he wanted. The demigod Tamaret came up from the ground and said, "It is your time, my son. We will enter the Temple of Malice." Story number 2 is going to come out of this pack. Once upon a time, there was a great kraken with many, many tentacles. This kraken was on the path to greatness in Theros. He had been blessed by Karametra. He had denied the divine of other gods. He was only going to follow Karametra, which was a little odd for a kraken, as krakens live in the ocean and Karametra lives on land. But this was his dream. Nylea had put an omen out, an omen of the hunt, to make sure that this specific kraken was able to walk onto land to do what it needed to do to become the best it could be. And then Erebos sent out his omen. He was to fight this kraken eventually. Thassa sent out her omen. She was going to make sure that the kraken had the water it needed to be able to live out on land. And fate was good to the kraken. Walked onto land, felt the flicker of the stars, and knew to itself, I can do this. I'm going to be able to find that I will be a champion of the land. Eventually, though, it became infuriated, for no one would give a kraken the time of day. Krakens are mysterious creatures. No one would interact with it. So, it found itself a familiar. A thaumaturge's familiar. One that could bring a message to town to let them know that the kraken was coming. Unfortunately, the familiar had been stopped by a gorgon. The gorgon looked at the kraken and said, "I will kill you." But, of course, the kraken had a way of dealing with the gorgon. It found a way to wipe her memory, using only the water that was given to it by the god of the sea. So, continuing on their journey, met with the Grey Merchant of Asphodel. The Grey Merchant was looking for coin, but of course, the Kraken doesn't have any coin, so they got into a battle. The Kraken, luckily, had eyes like mirrors that was able to shine the sun right off of its eyes into the eyes of the Grey Merchant, blinding it, throwing it off, and was able to vanquish the merchant. Overhead, a hero came by, noticing that the Kraken had done so well, and said, "You will become a great protector of the forest someday." And as they spoke, the final god, Perforos, intervened and said, "You will become my hero." The final story will come from this pack. Eons ago, a wolf lived on the plains. This wolf had aspirations to succeed and become the greatest wolf of all time. It had been sternly dismissed by the god of the sea. It had fought with fire with the god Perforos. This wolf would find glory bared to it by Heliod. This wolf was powerful, but not powerful enough to stop Thassa from turning him into a fish. Now, this wolf, now fish, had to find ways to find glory in its body that was so fleshy and moist. So, he went to speak with a chimera. The chimera was usually quite frightening to most, but not to this wolf fish. The chimera told him that we must speak with the satyr, a discordant piper, one of the gods of death's servants, if we were to cure the wolf of his fish status. They went to the altar of the Pantheon, and there, instead, the god Perforos spoke to him, and he said to him, "I will give you Mogus's favor. Then you will be able to assume your true form again." Suddenly, a bow and arrow shot towards the wolf, who had just reclaimed his form. Nylea was mad, did not want the wolf to succeed. It wished to banish him in the lights of the Nyxborn. But, luckily, one of the gods of the sea's devotees, a siren, came by and put the centaur to sleep. The banishing would not happen. Mogus's favor was good to the wolf. Karametra's acolyte, Siona, came to the wolf and said, "You are good. You will come with us. You have been imbued with the power of enchantment. But if you would like to retain this form completely, we must speak with the thaumaturge, and he will give you your body back."